Your mind has to seek discomfort. It has to seek these difficult tasks. You have to enjoy it. And you have to figure out a way to make your mind enjoy those things. And some people it comes easy and some people it doesn't. Some people it takes a long time. I always tell people the best thing you could ever do is force yourself to a schedule. Just write it down. Like today I have to do an hour on the treadmill. I have to do an hour, no matter what. Even if you're walking on it, you're doing an hour on a treadmill. The next time you're going to do it, just, okay, you did an hour and this is the amount of miles you got in. Next time you're going to, add 3 miles. Put an extra 3 miles in that 1 hour. And just keep doing things like that. Write down, today I'm going to do 100 push-ups, and I'm going to do 100 sit-ups, and I'm going to do 100 chin-ups. That's today. And then force yourself to adhere to a schedule. Make a Monday, Wednesday, Friday workout schedule. Give yourself some time off, Like don't even crush yourself to the point where you can't do it. Make it so that you really appreciate those Tuesdays and Thursdays. But on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, you're going to get after it, and this is what you're going to do. Most people just try to go work out, and you're kind of aimless, and you show up, and you pick up the jump rope, and you jump a little rope, maybe you hit the heavy bag a little bit, maybe you do some curls, but you don't really have an aim. That's why people like to hire trainers, because a trainer will tell you what to do. Well, you can tell yourself what to do. If you don't have money for a trainer, you don't even have to have fucking equipment. With bodyweight squats, sit-ups, chin-ups, push-ups, you could give yourself a brutal full bodyweight workout. And you can find these for free on YouTube. There's a ton of them. There's a ton of these bodyweight workouts you can do. Just force yourself. Write it down. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I'm going to do 100 push-ups, I'm going to do 100 chin-ups, I'm going to do 100 sit-ups. Even if it takes me all the day. Even if I have to do 10 and 10 and 10 and keep going all day, that's what you do. Do 10 push-ups, take a break for 20 minutes, do another 10. But get those 100 in. I don't believe in half-assing things. This life is short. If you get into something, get into it. And if you're not into it, don't be into it. And I think that insanity and greatness are next door neighbors, and they borrow each other's sugar. That's my that's what I've always said. There's something about mastery, like true mastery, that requires you to shut off massive areas of your life. There's a lot of people that are scared of their ability to do something that's difficult. I don't know if I could force myself to be disciplined. I don't know if I could force myself to take that kind of action. Well, if you do force yourself to take that kind of action, you don't have that question anymore. That question, I don't know if I can do it, when you're doing it. So you obviously can do it. Can you do it tomorrow? Can you do it today? Or can you do it tomorrow? Just do it. You get so much more benefit out of a struggle that you choose to embark in versus a struggle that life throws upon you. Get out there and go and do something. Just go. And then in the middle of doing it, it'll become easy. Even if it's not easy, even if it's hard, it's easier than not doing it and wishing that you had done it. Oftentimes people confuse discipline with focus, and this is why that's important. There are things that some people can excel at because they're focused on them and because they're drawn to it and they have an incredible passion for it, versus like you tell a guy like, hey, you're going to study to be an electrical engineer. It's like, I don't want to be an electrical engineer. Well, you got to have discipline. And so they don't have the drive, and they don't get excited about it, and they don't do. But if you tell that guy, whatever, you're going to be a golfer, and he loves golf, and he's practicing every day, and he becomes a professional golfer. And you say, well, I thought that guy didn't have any discipline. Well, it's not that he didn't have any discipline. He's just not interested in that other thing. I was never a disciplined kid, but I was about find things that I loved, and I was obsessed, and I always felt embarrassed by it. Because people would say, oh, your son, like to my mom, your son is so disciplined. And she'd be like, my son's f***ing crazy. Like, he's not disciplined. He finds these things and that's all he does all day long. Like, it's not really discipline because he doesn't clean his room. He's f***ing lazy. There's all sorts of shit he's supposed to do. I never did my homework. There's all that. But if I had a thing that I was into, I was obsessed.
You were crazy about it.
But it would bother me that I didn't really have discipline. Like if I had jobs that I had to do, I didn't do a good job at them, like construction jobs that I had. But when it came to martial arts...
How did you find those things, though? How did you find those things? You stumbled upon them?
Lucky. Just got lucky. Martial arts, I just got lucky. And it clicked with me like almost immediately. I became obsessed. and I wanted to excel at it. And so I was just doing it all day long. And I think the more you choose to embark in these struggles, these especially physical and mental struggles, because I consider both martial arts, yoga, and actually even trail running, I consider the mental struggles as much as physical struggles. Because I could stop anytime I want. I'm halfway up the hill, I can go f this. I'm walking the rest of the way. Yeah. Call my dog over, put him on the leash, I'm like, we're walking, buddy. But or you could say, no, this is what I'm doing today. I have a very clear plan in front of me. My plan is we're doing 4 miles today. This is where we start. This is where we end. This is what we're doing. Sometimes when things are really hard to do, you think, oh my God, I gotta stop doing this. But once you do it and you complete it, you have a satisfaction, this sense of satisfaction that you did something really difficult that is irreplaceable. And some kids never get that, and they just stay fat and stupid their whole life. And some kids, they get these little lessons, and then they realize, like, you can push yourself and you can get somewhere. Some kids get real lucky and they get involved in sports or martial arts early, and one of the best benefits of sports is you realize that through hard work you get improvement, through improvement you get success, through success you get that big dopamine rush, you get that good feeling, you get confidence, you get this knowledge.
You get the girl.
Yeah, you get, sometimes, I didn't, but you get this knowledge that you can do something that's difficult and you can overcome, even though it feels like you can't. You're gonna have days where you suck, but those days are so motivational. I mean, that's the bright side of tragedy. So when you come through it, you really will have an appreciation for the moments without tragedy. You don't really feel it unless unless life burns you. You don't really feel it. It's one of the things that I tell people all the time, because a lot of people have a hard time defining themselves. They define themselves by failure because they failed. But I'm like, you're not your failures, you're you. Okay, your life is a series of lessons you've learned. Now, if you just dwell on the failures, like that's not healthy, it's not smart, and it's not empowering. What you gotta do is look at those failures and go, well, now you know what not to do. But you're not that, you're you. You could have done the stupidest shit ever, but it's just not you. That's not you. You're a different thing. You're the being that's experiencing all these failures. And if you know that they're fuck-ups, then you've learned, okay? If you repeat them over and over again, well, then I can't talk to you.
Yeah.
If you keep going back and doing the same stupid shit over and over again, well, you got a deeper issue. I don't know what it is, but I don't have the time. Building up that ability to endure things, that's also a very important mechanism that you could apply to everyday life. Like that, the mechanism of understanding how to endure. Like Jocko Willink's perfect example. He has that thing on his, if you go to his Instagram page, almost every other photo is a watch. And it's a watch that says 4:30 in the morning, because that's when he gets up and he works out. And he earns the sunset. And he does that, he's so disciplined, and he's got this saying that's a great saying, discipline equals freedom. And it's true, because he's able to force himself to do that every single time. There's no excuses, there's no breaks, there's no days off. It doesn't happen. So because of that, you're not scared. You know that you can keep doing it. You know that you can continue to perform. Because a lot of people are just running from discomfort. They're running from it. They're just avoiding it. It's so easy to. And if you get distracted for a second, you're like, let me check my phone. You just start going through your phone and looking at both.
Is there advice you can give to young kids that are living through a shitty situation of any sort, a tough life?
Find a thing you like. Try to find a thing that you really enjoy. Try to find a thing that you're passionate about.
Like an activity?
Yes. For me, early on, it was drawing. It was illustrations. It was comic books. I wanted to be a comic book illustrator. And then it went from comic book drawing and illustrations to martial arts. But it was just another thing that I was very, very passionate about. That was my vehicle out of my dilemma. That was my vehicle out of my own anxiety and trauma and my own issues and insecurities. And find something. Find a thing that you genuinely enjoy, because getting good at things you genuinely enjoy is extremely beneficial for young people. because it lets you know that, like, everybody thinks they're a loser. Every young person thinks they're a loser. At least a young person in the situation I was at. I didn't know I wasn't a loser until I started winning, until I started doing martial arts. Martial arts taught me that, like, I could get better at stuff, that I wasn't really a loser. I just was someone who was, like, in a fucked up situation. But you could channel all that energy that you have as a young person into something and get better at it. And then all of a sudden people admired me. I was like, this is crazy. So I went from being someone who was incredibly insecure and basically a failure to someone who was really successful at this one thing that was very dangerous, that other people were scared of. And that gave me immense confidence and also a real understanding of the direct correlation between hard work and success. And also an understanding that you can't listen to people. Because even my parents didn't want me to do martial arts. They didn't want me to fight. They didn't want me to do stand-up. It's like, you have to understand who you are, and then in the face of other people's either criticism or, you know, lack of faith in your ability to succeed, you push through, and there's great benefit in that. And then you realize that you can kind of apply that to other things in life. You can apply that to critics, you can apply that to social media commentators, you can apply that to a lot of things. And I don't think people are happy if they don't have puzzles and complex tasks and things that are interesting to them, whether it's an art project or whether it's learning something completely new like stand-up comedy. Like, doing things that are difficult is it's as much of a nourishment of the mind as food is a nourishment of the body. I think you need things that are puzzling to you, where you have to find your own human potential in the difficulty of the task and work your way through things. At least for me, and in my life, that has been 100% constant. I am a very happy person, and I have never had a moment where I'm not doing difficult shit. Give yourself something, an arduous, difficult task where you're challenged mentally and challenged physically. Well, the great things about being challenged physically is it's also mental. The people that don't understand that have never really been challenged physically. People that think that physical challenges are just physical. It's just brute grunt work. It's not. It's emotional intelligence. It's understanding your desire to quit and conquering your inner bitch. All that stuff is mental. It's playing out inside your head. And there's a mental strength that you acquire from that you can apply to intellectual pursuits. And the people that don't think that are the people that haven't attempted them. And there's an arrogance to people that only pursue intellectual exercises, only pursue intellectual things, and don't pursue anything physical. That the physical stuff is base, it's grunt work, it's primal, it's not necessary. I don't think that's accurate. For most people, I think you can really benefit from physical struggle, and you benefit from it in a mental way. And I think that is overlooked. That's unfortunately overlooked by academics and intellectuals. Find some difficult shit to do, because that gets away a lot of the anxiety that you carry around in your body. A lot of difficult things make regular life less difficult. And that sounds so simplistic, but particularly physically difficult things. Because when you do things that are physically difficult, the strain of making yourself do those things, it's very valuable. It's not just valuable like exercise and fitness and martial arts and running and whatever you're doing that's really difficult. It's not just valuable in terms of like health and the way you look, but it's also valuable for your mind, maybe even more so. Because regular life can be confusing, and little things that go wrong and little problems that arise are exacerbated by the fact that you're not accustomed to dealing with hardship. So creating your own bullshit, whether it's through fucking some brutal kettlebell exercise or running up hills or something, is extremely valuable for you also, not just accepting the nuanced perspectives of other people, but also being able to navigate through this world with some sort of an understanding of just how complex it all is and how weird it all is, and not be overly thrown off by every little dip in the road and pothole that you encounter. That's the real message. The real message is we all started from nowhere. I mean, we all had bullshit jobs. We all felt like losers. But through time and effort, you build a stronger human. You build a stronger body. You build a stronger mind. You build accomplishments and will and momentum. And then you look back and you go, hey man, I'm not washing tables anymore. You know, I'm not washing dishes. I'm not cutting lawns. I'm not digging ditches.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a different person now, but I used to be.
And these desire not to be there, but not to stay in it. That's what.
That's the hardest part, right? Is to get out of that rut. When you ain't got shit and there's nothing going on, to have faith then is so difficult. To have faith when you're successful, it's like, yeah, listen, she's been successful for a while. Of course you got faith.
Yeah,
just keep doing what you're doing.
Easy.
It's like you already got up the hill. Now you're just coasted. You know, you're just rolling down the hill. Everything's great. The hard part is getting up that fucking hill. Especially if you got a dad you're hiding from. Especially if you feel like you're a loser or you never really had anything in your life that you could look back on and say, hey, I was really good at that. You know, and there's a lot of people out there listening to this. There's so many people that are in that starting point. Like the people that come up to you and say, I don't know what to do. What should I do? How do I do it?
Yeah.
How do I get going? You're going to have to figure it out, one foot in front of the other. You're going to have to find a thing and keep working at it and get better at it. That's one of the things that I like so much about martial arts. They let anybody in. And then from learning how to do that, you get better, and then you realize, damn, I can get better at anything.